Morning. Welcome to the part 2 of the session for UGC-NET English part 2. Okay, so this is basically a class, the second half of the class, the free class, and where I'll be discussing the prelude to English drama. That means the beginning of English drama. Okay, so if you look at the beginning of the medieval English drama, we need not to go deep down into the ancient one, because it is mostly poetry by Joan. In the ancient literature, you can find dramatic elements, although we can call it drama. And these two parts, unit 1 and 2, unit 1 is drama, unit 2 is poetry, as per the UGC-NET syllabus we are discussing. So this is the basically the beginning of medieval English drama. We'll be trying to understand. So what you can find here, एक second, one second, let me find the trajectory. Okay, so before you understand mostly the medieval English drama, okay, just look at the trajectory. Let me screen ko thoda bada kar do. See what are the major historical events. Just ye yaad rakho, uske baad hum thoda discuss kar lete. 1558 Elizabeth I ascended the British throne. Elizabeth I का reign. Then 1578 opening of London's first theatre. अगर theatre practically अगर देखा जाए, what we are trying to understand is not only the literary one. Even Shakespeare, that moment was a very important playwright, not the dramatist. Dramatists are those who write theatre, write drama for literary purpose. But Shakespeare used to write for the practical theatrical purpose. So opening event of London's first theatre is very important, named as The Theatre by Charles Babbage. Very important event, question aa sakta hai. 1577 to 80, Sir Francis Drake's first voyage around the world. It gives you a very important critical insight about the content of the theatre. कि theatre के content क्या होते, क्या हो रहा था, उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि क्या इवेंट हो रहा था. I mean, it is basically the beginning of sort of colonialism. मैं लिख देता हूँ इधर. Then 1584 Sir Walter Raleigh set up Virginia, the first American colony. Okay, and this is now the beginning of some sort of imperialism. Before that, people used to voyage obviously for new search, but it is for the establishment of colony. 1588 the Spanish naval fleet backed off and couldn't conquer Britain. Okay, then you can find the kind of supremacy of Britain being gained. And 1592 to 94 theatres in London closed due to the outbreak of plague. Very important. मैं हैंड रिटन नोट्स भी शेयर करूंगा आप लोगों के साथ, जहां पे कहीं ना कहीं एक रिविजन्स, एक चार्ट आ जाएगा. बट आई वुड प्रेफरेबली टेल यू कि ये जो मटेरियल है इसको पढ़ो ठीक से. ठीक है, हैंड रिटन नोट्स वुड बी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, बट पहले ये मटेरियल पढ़ लेना. सो थिएटर इन लंदन क्लोज हो रहा है, प्लेग हो रहा है, एंड डेफिनेटली यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड द सोशल बैकड्रॉप. 1600 फाउंडेशंस ऑफ ईस्ट इंडियन कंपनी. 1603 क्वीन एलिजाबेथ I died, जेम्स I ascended. एंड ये जो टाइम फ्रेम हम देख रहे हैं, थोड़ा ध्यान से देखो. 1500 के पहले, 1400 से 1500 में, 1500 के पहले, लेटर 1400, उस टाइम से हम कहीं ना कहीं देख रहे कि रेनेसा डेवलप. ओके, एंड 1500 to 1600 very important time for medieval English drama. Then 1600 के बाद to 700, अगर 1700 देखे इस टाइम पे, you can see the development of Protestant religion. Okay, Protestant nationalism, Protestant democracy. And then 1700 के बाद कहीं ना कहीं आपको मिलेगा कि restorations comedy and all, वो 1700 पहले से ही स्टार्ट हो रहा है. 1700 के बाद भी आपको comedy of manners वगैरह वगैरह मिलेगा. मोस्टली कॉमेडी, ट्रेजेडी तो था डेफिनेटली, बट इंपॉर्टेंट इन्वेंशंस ऑफ कॉमेडी यू कैन फाइंड. सो 1605 द गन पाउडर प्लॉट लेड बाय Foix, that is a very important political event in which he attempted to blow up the parliament. Okay, there was a fight between the parliament and the king. Okay, किन किन के बीच में था, देखो 3 मेजर स्टेक होल्डर्स था. ये थोड़ा बैकड्रॉप समझ लो. parliament, king and church. So important find between parliament and king. ठीक है, कभी पार्लियामेंट के साथ चर्च का रिलेशन देखोगे, किंग के साथ चर्च का रिलेशन देखोगे. किंग जो कैथलिक थे, ठीक है, they were being sidelined because parliament, those who were backing the protestant in this major historical period, they were rising up. So the catholic king or the king who had the catholic backdrop in any way, because उस टाइम किंग ऐसे नहीं था कि भाई इंग्लैंड के जो सेटल लैंड होता है उसमें किंग बनाया जाता. किंग का डिफरेंट समहाउ डिफरेंट ओरिजिन रहता था. ओके, आयरिश ओरिजिन हो गया, डिफरेंट ओरिजिन रहता था, फ्रेंच ओरिजिन. तो किंग जो था उसका कैथलिक बैकड्रॉप हो सकता था क्योंकि जो प्रोटेस्टेंट रेवोल्यूशन हो रहा था इंग्लैंड में हो रहा था. पार्लियामेंट प्लेड एन इंपॉर्टेंट रोल बिकॉज दे वर एक्चुअली साइडिंग विद द प्रोटेस्टेंट. एंड चर्च, they were sidelined already, the Catholic Church. Okay, Protestant, Epicureanisms, and obviously ये क्या क्या चीज होता है, definitely idea, obviously I'll be discussing gradually, but that is very important for the background. Okay, एक second. Yeah, let me get back to the prelude. So basically, if you look at the medieval English drama, first पहले आपको क्या मिलेगा, चर्च ड्रामा. ओके, जहां पे आप कौन सी स्टोरी मिल रहा था, बाइबल, बिब्लिकल स्टोरी, seems to be a bit old, ठीक है, ओल्ड स्कूल थिंग्स, लिटर्जिकल स्टोरीज भी कह सकते हो, ठीक है, मिराकल स्टोरीज, जिसको मिराकल प्ले भी कहा जाता है, वो मिराकल प्ले से शुरुआत हो रहा है. मिराकल प्ले इज द बिगिनिंग, ठीक है, मिराकल प्ले जहां पे you can see the miracles performed by Christ or the mysteries of the nativity and the resurrection. Resurrection was a very important event. So one content, a few stories that used to be performed, okay, heaven and hell that came, this is called the genre of miracle or mystery plays. ठीक है, याद रखना, miracle plays or the mystery plays. Now we come to pious plowman. It is basically an allegorical representation where you come to the humanistic approach. You go deep down to human life, everydayness to some extent. You can see here in the pliers plowman, very important in this manner as a text, pliers plowman. Okay, religious life से कहीं ना कहीं human life है पूछ रहा. Every man, okay, that was also a text of early 16th century. Early 16th century मतलब 1500 के beginning हो रहा है, ठीक है. Early 16th century, every man, that was also an important text in this manner कि religious और miracle place से human place में हम जा रहे हैं gradually. Okay, then the earliest complete morality play, because अगर आप human life पे जा रहे हो, okay, church मतलब miracle play, religious play, and you are getting into human life. You can see the morality play. Obviously, it will be commenting about the human life. Okay, and you can see the play, the Castle of Perseverance. Remember the name. Then, in the Scottish literary canon, which was actually read as a part of English literary canon, another importantly, you can find a Satire of the Three Estates. Okay, it is basically, it has a major contributions in the later medieval drama. It was written by Sir David Lindsay. Okay. And you can see the first representations of different class structures of the estates in medieval Europe. The class were called as the estate, upper, middle, and lower estates, right? And during Renaissance, the estate system was very important even for the development of a new field like sociology. Two literary figures, they bridge the gap between the medieval age and the Renaissance. Okay, Renaissance तो beginning हो रहा है, इटाली में आ गया, लेकिन इंग्लैंड में जब Renaissance आ रहा था 16th century में, two important figures were there. जो वो गैप medieval टाइम पे भी जो मिराकल प्लेस हो रहा था वगैरह ये सब चीज, और जो मोरालिटी प्लेस, वो मिराकल मतलब चर्च से ह्यूमन लाइफ, मिराकल प्ले टू मोरालिटी. मैं लिख देता हूँ इधर, मिराकल टू मोरालिटी. इसमें अरे भाई किसी को तो लेके जाना पड़ेगा. So there are two persons, there are two major authors who had a very important contributions. Thomas Malory, the author of Le Morte d'Arthur, who actually dealt with Arthurian romance in his book, and who was the first poet laureate, John Skelton. सो देखो नेट में एक इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है और हम थोड़ा अनफैमिलियर हो जाते हैं इस क्वेश्चंस के बारे में, इवन गेट के लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट है। हु वाज द फर्स्ट पोएट लॉरिएट इन इंग्लैंड? ओके, एक सेकेंड, इसको थोड़ा ऊपर उठाएंगे। Okay, and basically the Bauj quote from about commenting on the quote of Henry VIII. So not only the human life in the very everydayness or regions, but also the court life. Okay, the court life that was also represented. Okay, Skelton, the first poet laureate, who wrote of low life and drinking also. Okay, like in the poem The Turning of Eleanor Rummy. So this is a poem, but this has a very deep impact in creating the characters of the medieval English drama, where you can directly see the low life and drinking. Okay, that you can find the prototypes. You can find these traits in the prototypes of the comic characters who were from the lower class. Okay, and definitely you can also find the Skelton's morality play Magnificence. That is a very important play in the medieval drama. Other dramas before Shakespeare में घुसने के पहले obviously उसका जो उसके पहले जो playwrights थे, पहले जो who have actually contributed to other plays, dramas about the human life that we need to know, like Gorboduc and Felix, Gorboduc or Felix and Corex, very important. ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है, ठीक है, एज अ पार्ट ऑफ अनदर क्वेश्चंस के मैच द फॉलोइंग, क्योंकि गॉर्बोडक आता है उसके साथ आपके ऑप्शंस में दिया जाता है कि सबटाइटल के तौर पे फोरेक्स और पेरिक्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। 1562 में लिखा जा रहा है, तो आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि शेक्सपियरियन प्ले दैट एक्चुअली बिगैन इन द लेटर हाफ और द लास्ट ऑफ द 16th सेंचुरी, मतलब पोस्ट 1590, जो फास्ट फोलियो आता है शेक्सपियर का पोस्ट 1590। सो बेसिकली यू कैन रीड द प्ले Gorboduc or Forex and Forex as a very important play as the prelude of Shakespearean drama. It was written by Thomas Norton and Thomas Sackville. Okay, and it was the first English tragedy. तो क्यों मुझे याद रखना पड़ेगा, क्यों क्वेश्चन आ सकता है भाई, क्योंकि ये पहला इंग्लिश ट्रेजेडी बेस्ड ऑन अ सेनेकन मॉडल रोमान, जो अर्लियर रोमान पीरियड था उसमें जो घटना था, उसमें जो कहीं ना कहीं कंटेंट था उसको लिया गया, ठीक है। So this play relates the divide between Gorboduc's son Forex and Ferrex and Corex. Okay, for the succession of throne, you can simply see the story in King Lear, जहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं लियर के दो बेटियां थे, daughters, उन लोगों के बीच conflict था। Okay, so basically the beginning was same, but the characters been changed. Okay, and Philip Sidney, in his defense of poesy, he actually praised the play as an example of a good tragedy, which was based on Senecan model. Ralph Roister by Eton headmaster Nicholas Udall is basically the first comedy. आपको पूछा जा सकता है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, पीरियड याद रखो। अगर आपको ये याद रखना है ट्रेजेक्टरी के पहला कॉमेडी मेडिएवल इंग्लिश ड्रामा में या पहले आया था ट्रेजेडी, तो पहले क्या आया था, कॉमेडी। फर्स्ट कॉमेडी कौन सी ईयर, 1553, और फर्स्ट ट्रेजेडी 1562. So Ralph Roister was the first medieval comedy, so it came before the play of Weather written by John Hale. It's very important, you need to remember the name of the protagonist. Basically protagonist is the god Jupiter, so again it is based on the early model, early pagan model. Okay, to understand the state of weather according to Englishmen and women. It was also humorous, so you can actually tag it as a comedy. Okay. And see the control of weather by the god. So the godly control that you can find as a very important seminal trope in the tragedy that is actually reverberated in this play, this comedy. Fulgens and Lucrece, the earliest known interlude in Henry Medwell's. Okay, so it's a play written by Henry Medwell's, and then 4 piece that is also an interlude. Okay, 4 piece थोड़ा याद रखना नाम, Palmer, Pardoner, Apothecary, and Peddler. Okay, So they are the important characters. And kahin na kahin interlude kya hai, if you can obviously write in the chat box, would be great. And there the stories need not to remember, just need to remember the characters: farmer, gardener, apothecary and peddler. ठीक है, आप जब पढ़ोगे घर पे, ठीक है, as your homework, definitely try to read this way. Obviously read the material as a story, read the material as an important text, but try to focus on where I'm marking. Okay, because that's important. Then comes the Renaissance period, as I have already mentioned. कि देखो 1500 is already Renaissance, but England में 1500 से Renaissance start हो रहा है, but in Italy it starts in the 1400. 1500 से Renaissance नहीं start हो रहा है, मतलब 1600 से start हो रहा है. Later 1500 पे Renaissance आ रहा है, ठीक है. So अगर आपको देखा जाए कि पूरा जो पीरियड है, मतलब 16th century इसको कहते हैं. 16th century मतलब 1500 to 1600. Don't be confused. 16th century मतलब 1500 to 1600, and then 1600 to 1700, 17th century, इसमें age of reason वगैरह आ गया. But this time is very important for the development of Renaissance. Okay, across Europe and obviously in England, particularly English Renaissance has been developed. And you can find several writers like Shakespeare, Marlowe, Webster, Johnson, Sidney, Spencer, Donne. So हम लोग को एमएचए रीडिंग जब करना है कि भाई मैं खाली बैठा हूँ, मैं थोड़ा विकिपीडिया में सर्च करता हूँ, माइंड इट्स वेरी हेल्पफुल फॉर एग्जामिनेशंस लाइक नेट गेट और अदर एकेडमिक एग्जामिनेशंस. सो आपको ये नाम याद रखना चाहिए, ठीक है, जहन में होना चाहिए. तो मैं खाली नहीं बैठा हूँ तो मैं सर्च कर लेता हूँ थोड़ा. सो मार्लो, वेबस्टर, जॉनसन, सिडनी, स्पेंसर, डन, मिल्टन, ठीक है, बेकन, नैश, रिले, ब्राउन, हुकर, the prose writers, the non-fiction writers mostly. Okay, so please remember the name. They are the Renaissance. It's very important. Okay, so and it is the beginning of Elizabethan age because you have already seen the trajectory. Renaissance में Elizabethan era आपको you can see, and in the Elizabethan period, complete Elizabethan period, you can see the development of Shakespeare. Elizabethan period कब से start हुआ? 1576. मतलब क्या? Later half of 17th century. Or 1590 से what you can find the development of Shakespeare as a playwright. And Elizabethan period was larger, so you can see how Shakespeare flourished through his writing during the Elizabethan period. Okay, and James Babbage established the first permanent theatre on the outskirts of London. Okay, outskirts of London में theatre क्यों बनाया गया था? ये question जहन में आना चाहिए. Okay, please try to search, try to think about it, although not important from your exam point of view. Different companies were there. Company theater था. तब ऐसा नहीं था कि कोई अच्छा प्ले राइट आए, कुछ लिख लिया और कोई जाके उस प्ले को डायरेक्ट कर दिया. That was company theater, professional theater. Although their situation, economic condition was not pretty good, but obviously that moment Shakespeare was a little bit richer, and there are some others who actually joined as playwrights, but they are from the very rich background, but they joined as an amateur hobby because some are the university people who are called the university wits. They also lived some sort of very decadent life. They joined as playwrights. They actually wrote several plays. They tried to see the life from different perspectives. So you can see the incorporations of many rich people, rich young men who actually joined theatre. That moment also women performance was not common. Okay, several theatre groups you can find like Carton, Rose, Swan, Globe. Globe Theatre is very important. You can still recall the name. It is still very important. And performance used to take place in the daylight with few props and actors. क्योंकि night में performance के लिए बहुत light की जरूरत होता है. And female roles basically was taken up by boys, as I have already mentioned. कि female performer नहीं था. Most famous actors are Richard Burbage and Will Kane. Please remember the names. And public theatre के साथ there are a few private theatres also that used to be patronized by some important rich people. Okay. And first private theatre was Blackfriars, established in 1576, and the child actors Chapel Royal. Okay. Now these are the elements of drama. Try to understand this pretty well. Okay, so that it can help you further read about a drama, because NET examination is not about reading the text, it's about reading about the text majorly. So what you need to look at, what you need to look forward basically. See, अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे, it's the plot, characters, characterizations, then dialogues, stage directions, conflict, theme. So क्या क्या? Let me repeat: plot, characters, characterization, dialogue, stage directions, conflict, and then theme. Okay. So plot क्या होता है? What is plot? एक second. Just give me a moment. Well, so plot basically, अगर आप events को जोड़ते जाओगे तो series of events in a play. क्या होता है? Series of events. मीन अ प्लान, जिस प्लान से आप एक प्ले को स्ट्रक्चर करोगे, ठीक है, डिफरेंट ड्रामेटिक इंसिडेंट्स को स्ट्रक्चर करोगे, इसका एक बिगिनिंग रहता है, मिडिल एंड एंड. प्लॉट हैज बीन वाइडली डिस्कस्ड बाय एरिस्टोटल इन हिज पोएटिक्स, but basically this was a time when you can find a very rough difference between Aristotelian drama or methodology, the ancient Greek drama, and obviously the medieval Renaissance English drama. Aristotle used to say कि भाई टाइम होना चाहिए 24 आवर्स, मतलब कुछ भी इवेंट दिखाओ, जो इवेंट दैट इज टेकिंग प्लेस, जो एक्शन स्टेज में दिखाओगे, वो 24 आवर्स में होना चाहिए. मतलब सुबह 6 बजे से लेके नेक्स्ट दिन के सुबह 6 बजे तक ही वो एक्शन का टाइम फ्रेम होना चाहिए. लेकिन यू कैन सी द डिफरेंस इन द मेडिवल रेनेसां ड्रामा, मेडिवल इंग्लिश रेनेसां ड्रामा. ओके, कैरेक्टर्स देखोगे, बेसिकली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. प्रोटैगनिस्ट, उसको देखने के लिए लोग आता था, ठीक है. एंड मेजर माइनर स्टैटिक कैरेक्टर्स, डायनामिक फ्लैट, ये डिफरेंसेस होता है, ठीक है. स्टैटिक कैरेक्टर क्या होता है, डायनामिक क्या होता है, नॉट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. कैरेक्टराइजेशंस मींस हाउ यू प्रेजेंट द कैरेक्टर. भाई कैरेक्टर तो हीरो हो सकता है, विलेन हो सकता है, उसको दिखाओगे कैसे. हाउ यू रिवील द पिकुलरिटीज ऑफ द कैरेक्टर, जिससे हम वो कैरेक्टर से जुड़ जाए. अगर मैं जैसे बात कर रहा हूँ वही मैं बात करूँ स्टेज में जाके, सो डेफिनेटली इट वोंट बिकम अ इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टर. कहीं ना कहीं रिवील करना पड़ेगा उसका पिक्यूलियरिटी, ठीक है, विच इज प्राइवेट बट रिवील्ड इन द पब्लिक, सो दैट इज द रीजन पब्लिक विल बी अट्रैक्टेड. देखो, हम जब झगड़ा देखते हैं किसी का, तो उसका जो ये बेनेवोलेंट नेचर, उसके बाहर बाहर आके वो क्या करते हैं, झगड़ते, फाइट करते हैं, और लोगों का इंटरेस्ट बना रहता है फाइट देखने में, ठीक है. तो फाइट में उसका पिक्यूलियरिटी बाहर आता है. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड कैरेक्टराइजेशन. एंड डेफिनेटली डिफरेंट ट्रेड्स ऑफ पर्सनालिटीज, उसमें सिर्फ पिकुलिटी नहीं होता, डिफरेंट ट्रेड भी होता है. डायलॉग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. मोनोलॉग, एक स्पीकर एक बोल के जा रहे. सॉलिलॉक्वी, कैरेक्टर्स थॉट प्रोसेस एक्सप्रेस्ड अलाउड. मैं सोच रहा हूँ ये कि भाई आज मेरे साथ क्या होने वाला है, लाइक व्हेन आई एम सेइंग दिस अलाउड, आज मेरे साथ क्या होने वाला है, दैट इज कॉल्ड सॉलिलॉक्वी. ठीक है, मुझे बोलना पड़ेगा जोर से, लेकिन दैट शोज माय थॉट. And basically it reveals how you actually give the informations के लिए dialogue बनाता है. Then stage directions, conflict, theme. इसमें theme आप देख लो, theme very important होता है. main idea और point, ठीक है. idea क्या है, इसमें और एक चीज ऐड कर सकते हो, वो है genre, ठीक है. जैसे tragedy, comedy, ये तो पता है, but tragic comedy, later you can see the development of tragic comedy. Even in the Shakespearean play you can find a lot of other tragic comedy. अच्छा, ये याद रखो, नेट के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि who are the university UGC. ओके, उस टाइम कौन से दो यूनिवर्सिटी एस्टेब्लिश था उधर इंग्लैंड में? एक था कैम्ब्रिज एंड अनदर वाज ऑक्सफोर्ड. सो देयर आर फ्यू university graduates, university people, university educated who actually became the playwrights. They used to have a glory because they used to say that they are the university educated people. So they can actually bring a class, a certain sense of sophistications, maybe, or certain sense of intellect to even the playwright industry. They were called the university wits. Interestingly, Shakespeare was not part of that. Shakespeare didn't have any university education. Although Shakespeare had, to some extent, collaborated with a few of them, although a few actually opposed Shakespeare that moment. Okay, who are the university wits? Thomas Gates, Thomas Lodge, Thomas Nash, Robert Greene, George Peele, John Lilly, Christopher Marlowe. इन फर्दर हम लोग को इन लोगों के प्ले के बारे में जानना है. प्रैक्टिस आप स्टार्ट कर दो, घर पे खाली बैठे हो तो यूनिवर्सिटी विच लिखो, ठीक है, इसका बेसिक इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे पता है, बट उसके बाद लिखो थॉमस किट. थोड़ा देख लो विकिपीडिया का, कुछ नहीं. सी इट विल क्रिएट, इट विल डेवलप अ प्रैक्टिस. ओके. And the first time the idea of university wits, the title university wits, it was first used by George Sainsbury. Okay, please remember. Then see, मैं क्या दिखाऊंगा आप लोगों को कि जॉन लिली, रॉबर्ट ग्रीन, थॉमस लॉज, कीट. ओके, कुछ यूनिवर्सिटी विट्स जो थे उन लोगों के बारे में थोड़ा डिटेल्स में शेयर किया. ठीक है. जॉन लिली he wrote for the companies of child actors, which was basically a private company, and drew his matter from Greek myths. जो आप रोमन, ग्रीक या अर्ली myths से जो कंटेंट डेवलप होता था, that you can find also in Shakespearean writing. Okay, very important play is Endymion. Okay, it was basically about the Greek myth, but somehow complement to Queen Elizabeth. Okay. क्वीन एलिजाबेथ को वर्जिन हंट्रेस की तरह दिखाया गया. एंड इन द वुमेन इन द मून, बेसिकली इट्स आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सैटायर, ओके, ऑन वुमेन एंड पर्टिकुलरली ऑन एलिजाबेथ. एंड prose works, Euphues of Anatomy of Wit and sequel of Euphues, okay, and is England. These are the very important prose works. There you can find the style called euphemism. Okay, बाद में आऊंगा euphuism क्या है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं इसमें आपको रोमांस मिलेगा, इसमें सैटायर भी मिलेगा. रॉबर्ट ग्रीन, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इनॉग्रेटिंग द जॉनर कॉल्ड रोमांटिक कॉमेडी. और रोमांटिक कॉमेडी क्या है आप देख सकते हो, शेक्सपियर इन रोमांटिक कॉमेडी, रोमियो एंड जूलियट. बट कहीं ना कहीं इन फ्रांस, in the new comedy also you can see the development of romantic comedy. Okay, जिसको आप न्यू कॉमेडी कह सकते हो रोमैन कॉमेडी में. न्यू कॉमेडी जो रोमैन कॉमेडी जो एडी में लिखा गया, ओल्ड कॉमेडी बीसी में लिखा गया, बिफोर क्राइस्ट. बीसी में जो लिखा गया ओल्ड कॉमेडी, दैट वाज पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रीक कॉमेडी, लाइक एरिस्टोफेन्स. मैं ये ग्रीक, रोमैन, ओल्ड, न्यू कॉमेडी, ट्रेजेडी, इसका बिगिनिंग ये मैं अलग से एक टॉपिक में समझाऊंगा, क्योंकि वी आर नाउ ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड द इंग्लिश ड्रामा. So Aristophanes was the old comedy writer. New comedy writer, there are few Roman new comedy writers. Please search and obviously बताना. ठीक है, अभी नहीं, बाद में. You just search for yourself. Who are the new comedy writers? ठीक है. So Romeo Juliet, and very important extent romantic comedy written by Shakespeare, but first the idea was inaugurated in England by Robert Greene. Noted plays अगर आप देख सकते हो, Honorary History of Friar Bacon and Friar Bangor, James Ford. Pastoral romance आप देख सकते हो, Pandosto, or The Triumph of Time, which was inspired by Ariosto's Orlando Furioso. Ariosto was an Italian writer, and Orlando Furioso is a very important, you can say, epic sort of writing. Okay, and it actually inspired Shakespeare's plot of the Winter's Tale. Okay, so how we can see the literary reception: Ariosto to Robert Greene to Shakespeare. Okay, well, he is the person, ये question में आ जाता है, who actually called Shakespeare as the upstart pro. Thomas Lodge, another university wits, two main pastoral romance देख सकते हो, Rosalind, Euphues' Golden Legacy, and a Marguerite of America. Actually एक moral play भी था, A Looking Glass for London and England, and a tragedy also, The Wounds of Civil War. Rosalind शेक्सपियर में भी आते हैं, कैसे आता है, डेफिनेटली ट्राई टू सर्च कैरेक्टर के थ्रू कैसे आते हैं. Kid is very important because he wrote the Spanish tragedy, very important text prior to Shakespearean tragedy or drama. It was actually a Senecan model of the tragedy of blood, जिसको आप क्या कह सकते हो? Revenge tragedy. Most of the Senecan tragedy are the revenge tragedy. Okay. Ghost of Spanish officer Don Andrea, who has been killed by the Portugal viceroy on Balthazar. मैं ये क्यों पढ़ रहा हूँ? क्योंकि ये दो इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टर है जिसको आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा. इसमें और एक इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टर है होरासियो. मैं बस कैरेक्टर बता रहा हूँ. बाल्थाजर, ओके, बेल इंपेरिया. बाल्थाजर बेल इंपेरिया फॉल्स इन द लव विद बेल इंपेरिया. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. देखो हम कम टाइम में कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए मैं बस इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, इंपॉर्टेंट जो इंफॉर्मेशन है, I'm trying to attract you to the important informations here. Okay. Balthazar falls in love with Imperia. They are two important characters. Okay, Horatio, that characters will come even in the Shakespearean drama. कहाँ पे बताओगे आप? ठीक है. So story आप पढ़ लेना, ठीक है. Lorenzo, ये character भी Shakespearean drama में आता है. So definitely that is the reason these characters already become important. Otherwise, remember, Thomas Kit wrote Spanish tragedy, which was a revenge tragedy or blood tragedy written in the Senecan model. Arden of Feversham by Thomas Kit is also an important drama, important domestic tragedy, if you can say. It doesn't actually put on the war situations, rather it shows the domestic life, and obviously shows obviously is an important domestic tragedy. Christopher Marlowe, known as Kit Marlowe, very important English playwright and a translator. Remember, he was a translator of the Elizabethan era. Tamburlaine is a very important play. You need to remember Tamburlaine. Also, you can search it. Okay. And I have actually added this important information from Wikipedia, so you can search it just by clicking on the hyperlink Tamburlaine के बारे में. ठीक है. बाद में obviously I'll be adding a few about the important plays. And then obviously Shakespeare. I'm not reading this because you all know about a few important plays, but Shakespeare के बारे में हम जब आएंगे कहीं ना कहीं आपको what you really need to remember is basically the Shakespearean folios. कौन से plays first folio में आता है, कौन सा second, कौन सा third. ठीक है. फर्स्ट फोलियो का टाइमलाइन क्या था, सेकंड का टाइमलाइन क्या था, थर्ड. फर्स्ट फोलियो में कौन सा जॉनर दैट वाज वेरी प्रोमिनेंट, एंड थर्ड फोलियो, लास्ट फोलियो में कौन सा जॉनर वाज वेरी प्रोमिनेंट. नाउ लेट अस जस्ट concentrate on Marlowe's life. It is here 1564 when he was born and 1591. Okay. The end. And see, let me just tell you the important informations. Yes, 1588, very important. Let me mark it like this. Just a second. Okay. 1588 wrote Dr. Faust. Faust is a very legend character. You can find it being played by Goethe. Goethe also wrote about Faust. But see, Marlowe is the one who actually brought Faust for the first time in play drama. Dido, Queens of Carthage, very important year, 1518. And then 1589, the Jew of Malta. Okay. So very important text. Please search about the Jew of Malta and how it actually, it can be related to the Shakespearean drama also to some extent. 1 second. Okay. So in the next content about English drama, we'll be stick to the medieval period, and I'll be showing you the chronology in details, probably from my handwritten notes. Obviously, it will help you understand, and you can access this because I'll make it a PDF, and there you can understand the trajectory of Shakespearean drama. Marlowe's drama you have already seen, but you can have a better trajectory of socio-political praxis, socio-political context of England that moment, some important events apart from the historical events today you have read, you have studied. I'll be showing you some other important events in a trajectory, in a chronology. Then I'll be sharing you a chronology chart that will help you understand the particular plays, playwrights, and obviously development of different dramas. Okay, so these are the three approaches we can actually look at the drama. But the medieval, the Renaissance drama is a bit difficult. That is the reason we need to do it this way. When we enter into the 17th century, the late 17th century, and then the 18th century, it would be turning out a bit easier. Okay, mark my experience, it will be a bit easier. In the modern drama, it is much easier to read. It would be. So even for the 17th century, late 17th century, and the 18th century drama, I'll be sharing my handwritten notes along with the material that you can refer. Okay. Any questions? Actually, I tried to lecture on this at one go. Sorry, I couldn't just take your questions. So this meeting I think will end within 2 minutes 22 seconds. So if you have any questions, quickly just put it on the table. Later on, I can only take the questions personally because you can obviously text me. I'll try to answer in the next class, or obviously then and that I can answer. My phone keypad is not working properly, so you have to wait a little bit. I can, if I need to type, I can type in the laptop. Any question, you can simply unmute yourself and ask me. Don't need to write in the chat box. Ask me. Any question you have? Anything you would like to ask? Any doubt? Anything? By the way, thank you, Ashi, Mayam, Shakshi, Kazma, Vidushi for being here in the class. And if you have any doubt, quickly you can ask me anything. Okay, let me ask you one thing. Could you understand the trajectory? ऊपर से भी थोड़ा समझ में आया कि कैसे स्टार्ट हो रहा है इंग्लिश ड्रामा, क्या सिचुएशन था थोड़ा बहुत. Could you understand? Okay, thank you, Vidushi, Kazma. Okay, rest. Ashi, Mariam, Sakshi. Did you understand? Thank you, thank you. Okay, great. So we should wind it up today, and you can get the schedule in the group. Okay. Yes. For the free class, the PDF will be shared in the same group. For the paid class, there will be a separate Telegram group. You can find all the PDF and materials, even the recorded classes there. Okay, for the enrolled students. As I have mentioned, I'll be like ending up the procedures for enrollment soon. So if you want to, you can take the course as early as possible. Soon a